Hello, David. Welcome to New Earth Center, and my name is Artemis, and I'm really excited to have you on the call today. We are here to share to our community in Austin about you, about juice feasting. We're going to talk about tips for our cleansers for Cleanse ATX, and we're going to talk about a really exciting subject on cultivating our life practice as it relates to juicing and cleansing, and then what's next, and how do we take all this information and really bring it home into a life practice?
Yes.
So first of all, tell us, who are you and why did you create Juice Feasting?
Yes, I am David Rainishek. I created the Juice Feasting program. People are drinking nothing but juice for 30, 60, or 90 days, and have been doing that as part of my program for about 7 or 8 years now. And the reason I do it is because I have a magnificent obsession, is the word that I like to use, and it really comes out of Napoleon Hill, and he's written a long book called The 16 Laws of Success, or The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. And his real starting point is having a magnificent obsession for something.
Yeah.
And my magnificent obsession is helping to wake people up to their own unique self-purpose. What it is that you are uniquely here to do in this life. And if you look out at American society, in particular at this point, about 70% of us are overweight or obese. And what I've seen over the years, including my own life experience, is that being overweight or obese comes with it a lot of health challenges. And those health challenges tend to diminish our ability to show up or to cultivate a magnificent obsession about what it is that we're here to uniquely do. It's very difficult to discover your unique self or to actualize it if you're sluggish, uninspired, if you have a health challenge that you're always having to manage. And so I see this fundamentally we have now in Western society to actualize, to self-actualization or actualizing our unique self-purpose. And I love discover what it is they're here to do. I think it's one of the greatest things you could ever witness, is seeing somebody just get lit on what it is they're here to do. So I learned about juice fasting from a colleague named John Rose, who's here in Houston, Texas. And I was really sick. And I juiced, but I didn't know that you could juice anything longer than about a week. And John taught me that you could drink about 4 or more quarts of juice, fresh homemade juice, each day. And you could do that for longer than a week. You could go 2 weeks, 4 weeks. You could go 60 or 90 days.
Wow.
And so John and I became quick friends and colleagues. And John said, any way that you can get this out there, please do, because this is something everybody needs to know about. And I entirely agreed. I dedicated myself to it. It was a magnificent obsession.
Wow.
It still is. And so I developed the Juice Feasting program to emphasize the abundance around doing the practice, the life practice of juice feasting, meaning that periodically, and you know when, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, you know when to start drinking juice and how long to go and how to take care of yourself as you do a cleanse of this nature. But the foundation of it is drinking about 4 or more quarts of juice every day and feeding your body all the calories and the nutrients that it requires for something even longer than a week. What's nice about this, I mean, I'm so excited about your project. I am incredibly inspired by what you're doing with Cleanse ATX.
Thank you.
Because it's going to help people establish juice cleansing, juice feasting as a life practice. And
Yes.
It sound really beautiful, something that I can accomplish right now.
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind and as we're sharing about juicing and juice feasting is just what juice feasting brings to my feelings when I think of a feast versus a fast. It helps people open up and expand to what's possible. And juice fasting sometimes connects people to a limitation or a restriction in their life. And when you go just to the 2 words of juice feasting, you start expanding your possibilities and opening up your potential that I can have fun juicing and I can feast on juices. and still reap all the benefits, all of the massive hydration and mineralization and detoxification that juices bring.
Yes.
So that I think is a great contribution that you're offering to our world, and also to people who will be joining Cleanse ATX, that if they go exclusively juice, they can feast on juices.
Yes.
Instead of just fast.
And I think it does answer a sense that a lot of us have that we're lacking somehow.
Yes.
And if you're looking to cleanse, it feels like there is a lack of freedom or health or something fundamental and really important in your life. And so I think there's a lot of fear around doing a cleanse or some kind of a diet where you're taking some things out of your diet that you've been used to being present.
Yes.
And so a juice feast, like, okay, there's all the fullness, all the abundance that I could possibly need. It's coming in a really special way, but there's all the juice that I need. I like to tell my students that there's no limit to the amount of juice that you can drink. Yeah. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, and you are thirsty for juice, or you're like, oh, I'm hungry. It's probably not the normal time that you're going to have juice, but get up and have it. And I've had a few clients do it, like in the middle of the night, and then you go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So there's a real sense of abundance and it being okay. I like to say that we're turning your fear about cleansing into fascination.
Yes.
And turning it into fascination is a place where, okay, now possibility opens up.
Yeah, my company here at New Earth just did a 7-day juice feast, and I was juicing like 6 gallons a day for all of us. We were all drinking up to a gallon of juice and having just an amazing experience, bonding, supporting each other. I mean, when you come together as a company to do a juice feast, it was very cool because we were all raising our vibration, cleansing, healing, feeling lighter and lighter each day. And I noticed that morale was improving, and then our sales started to improve, and then new relationships started coming into our lives. So it really made us magnetic for our good. And I'm excited to see what happens here in Austin, where we all do this to some level or some degree of cleansing as a community. It's going to be fun.
It's incredible. And I mean, you know, beyond just the miracle of doing something like this for your own self, the miracle of coming together and sharing in the experience. I've actually taken the work of Joseph Campbell, the mythologist Joseph Campbell, on the hero's journey. And doing a hero's journey with a lot of other people and being able to share in that common experience is extraordinarily powerful. You will definitely, the people who do Cleanse ATX this year and in years going forward, will establish deep, meaningful relationships that will go for years on into the future. This is like a crucible. It really is. It's a crucible for cultivating authenticity in your life, for letting go of things that you don't need anymore, for identifying what it is that you're really here to do, and also for integrating other life practices. So a juice feast actually allows people the freedom. It creates a context for being comfortable with bringing in other new and exciting practices into your life. And that's one of the amazing things about it.
Yeah, I love what you were saying about the hero's journey, because I'm familiar with Campbell's work, and it's really profound as you integrate some of these concepts of what a hero's journey really is. I mean, of walking through your greatest weakness into your greatest strength. And to do that at a community level is going to be really profound. I mean, you're expanding my box a little bit today, because I'm thinking, wow, we're all basically entering a hero's journey on a community-wide level. We're creating a city-wide hero's journey, which is a really cool concept in and of itself.
Yes, very exciting.
And
I've dedicated a whole day of the Juice Feasting program to the hero's journey. And for this project, you can go to juicefeastingatx.com.
Yes.
And if you sign up for the 92-day program that I've created, which is a support network for doing a juice feast, on day 9, and I put it early on because I mean, just what you're hitting on right now, it's a really powerful conception. I put it on day 9 about the hero's journey. I've got a whole hour's talk on it. And you can look up The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell.
Yes.
And that book outlines the perennial theme of the hero's journey, which you see every movie you've ever watched in Hollywood, every fiction book that you've ever read, any biography that you read on the shelves will take you through the stages of a hero's journey.
Yes.
Which is leaving when you're just about to fall, discovering new things about yourself and about the world, and from the hero's journey. And then there's a whole other hero's journey that unfolds from there.
Yeah, and whether you're doing a 10-day or a 30-day or a 60 or a 90-day juice feast, you are literally entering a hero's journey. You're coming, you're being reborn into something brand new.
Yes.
And then that naturally leads to the question of what's next. And I think what's really helpful for the people who are watching this today is to learn how a juice feast and a juice cleanse can begin to awaken a life practice in them and help them cultivate new habits, new patterns, new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at their life and their body and their health. And I'd like for you to talk about what it means for you to cultivate a life practice and how a citywide cleanse is going to help us all do this.
Right. So the term life practice, we've been throwing that around just a little bit. That comes out of Ken Wilber, American philosopher Ken Wilber, who's written over 20 books. He's been writing since the 1970s. Ken and Integral Institute have put this term out there, life practice. And what we mean by a life practice is, I like to conceive it as, let's say you're building a house out of limestone blocks. One of those limestone blocks, you cut that thing, it's very heavy, you specially bring it in, you set it into place, and you know that thing is going to be there for like the next 500 or 1,000 years. It's something that is solid, it is sure. It's integral to the house. It's not, some piece of artwork that you're going to take down later or whatever. It's boom, it's really there. So a life practice is something that when it comes into your life, it's like a limestone block. It's just, wow, this is incredible, and I will rely on this the rest of my life. It's something that I'll be able to give to other people and have them rely on as well. So Ken's written a book called Integral Life Practice, and it's looking at integrating multiple life practices. So we'll talk about juice feasting in detail today, but you can look at other domains of your life right now where you've already integrated life practices. So nutrition would be one of them. We'll speak specifically to that in a minute. Now, a nutritional life practice could be something like getting adequate B12 in. Okay? So I've done a webinar on that recently, and it's because I feel like it's a really important nutritional life practice, and there's a lot of them that you could line up that way. For somebody, taking hemp oil, or if they're not vegan, doing fish oil, making sure their EPA and DHA levels are satisfactory. Could also be something like yoga. Would be a physical life practice. In terms of economy, right now, people are buying gold and silver. That could be a life practice, or deciding that you're not going to put money into buying alcohol or beer, you're going to put it into buying organic food. That could be a life practice for you, economically speaking. Relationship life practices, deep listening and loving speech could be one of those.
Yes.
Or having breakfast together every morning, or having dinner together, every day. Could be relationship with your kids, and there are certain practices that you just say, these are things that I do with regards to how I raise my children, and that is a life practice that will go through with me, the rest of my life. Spirituality and religion. We could go on and on about life practices around those things. I wrote down aesthetics, meaning how you decorate your house or how you create the spaces in your life. I love that the Volkswagen Beetle, when you buy it, that comes with a little flower vase, and they put some little plastic flowers in there. Not high aesthetic development there, but still, there's paying attention to what's even the environment in the vehicle that I'm driving.
Yes.
But it could also be understanding art or music or colors of paint and the impact on one's awareness. Learning something like feng shui, or other types of design that would help you to create a space that's conducive to your magnificent obsession and cultivating your own unique self-purpose.
Yes.
Right? So this house, for example, lots of windows, very high ceilings. So my folks are very lucky. This is my folks' house. We've been visiting for the holidays here. So very conducive to reading, to thinking, to creating, to hosting people. It's very, very good. Cognitive and learning. I've got cognitive, or learning life practices that I create. I just got a Kindle last week.
Woohoo.
So I want to have books that I can read just at the drop of a hat. So reading is a life practice for me.
Yes.
I'm always considering multiple books. I have styles of reading that I've been cultivating over the years, like speed reading or photo reading, that I apply so that I can take the material on not only quicker, but in a deeper way and have access to it later.
Yes.
So we can go on and on like that, but you can look at your own life and see these life practices that you've either had in the past and you let them go, or they've always been there, or ones that you've been saying, I really do want to bring this in to a more rich life, a more fulfilling, meaningful life. So juice feasting, we'll get to that in a minute. But that's kind of life practices. So it comes out of Ken Wilber's community. And I have found the conception to be very helpful for people who feel like, oh, I've just kind of got all these things out here. They're just kind of flying around. And, you know, it's like, when do I do them, or how do I think about them in terms of my own, in my own mind? And as soon as you have life practice, it's like you've got a nice salad bowl all of a sudden. It's like, okay, all the things, you know, kind of go in here, and there's some kind of a container for all these really important things that you've either integrated or you've been wanting to integrate.
Yes. Yeah, I see an underlying theme here too, related to just the concept of beauty. When we purify the body inside through juicing and juice feasting, we make ourselves more beautiful. And I notice people who drink a high volume of juice, in addition to the life practices they've already cultivated, start to glow. They start to become beautiful. And that inner beauty that we develop inside starts to become reflected outside ourselves, in relationships, in family, in career, in business, in home. And there seems to be a really beautiful underlying theme of beauty in cultivating a beautiful life practice through juicing.
It's a very common occurrence. All the clients that I've coached over the years, the thousands of clients that I've coached, that people will walk up to them in the grocery store or while they're out somewhere or they go to work, and somebody they don't know walks up to them and says, you're just radiating. And it almost sounds ridiculous. Like, nobody walks up to somebody in the grocery store and says, you radiate. I just wanted you to know that. It's almost like the person is so attractive, and not just in the way they look, but how they're actually radiating from the inside out. It's almost like you can feel their positive emotion, their positive mental state. Somebody just feels attracted to it. It's like, I just have to comment that you're really lighting me up.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that one of the reasons that it happens, if I can get into something that's a little bit technical,
Go ahead.
Spiritual traditions, all the major world religious traditions, is what's called the perennial philosophy, or you may have heard it referred to as great pain of being. And it's this movement of energy in the cosmos from matter, without yet, just matter into bodies or biology, into biology gives rise to a mind or a consciousness, you know, a greater awareness, into the level of soul, which has to do with your own unique self-purpose, what it is that you care about, who it is that you love, how you generate meaning in your life, which is beyond just the mind. There's something beyond the mind with that. And into the level of spirit itself, which gets more into mysticism, but you could call it God or qualify it in any number of the names of God. But matter to body, to mind, to soul, to spirit, or physics to biology, to psychology, to theology, and then into mysticism. And so each level gives rise to the next one. Yes. So you can't have a body unless you can't have biology unless you've got physics first. You've got to have particles, some kind of physical particle out there, and then boom, biology. And you can't have a mind until biology is there, and then biology gives rise to the ability for a consciousness to arise that's embodied. And then that body and that brain, that physical brain that you have at that level, gives rise to the possibility to understand soul or meaning or how to love or how to offer compassion, things at the level of soul. And that can intuit the existence maybe of something even larger that created every level to think about. So when you juice feast, what level are you working on most? Well, you're working at the level of matter. Okay, let's acknowledge that food is extremely important. Now, I love Michael Pollan's work. He's one of my favorite intellectuals. He's making it abundantly clear, as are a number of other people at this point, but I really like Pollan's writing, that eating whole foods, getting out of the processed food culture, is incredibly important for the environment, for farmers, and for your own body. So we're taking care of matter, and we're taking care of body. I'm going to drink 4 liters of juice, 4 quarts of juice each day, fresh, homemade juice made with love, so incredible, maybe from local farmers, which is even more delicious. Yes. And I'm going to have my body let go of the stuff it needs to let go of, take on the nutrients it hasn't gotten maybe in a long time, do a lot of really important healing Because what you're doing with juicing is you're giving yourself space. The body says, thank you, I'm getting all this beautiful, nourishing juice. I hardly have to work to digest it. Now that I've got all this extra energy, I'm going to go and house clean. I'm going to clean up over here and clean up over there, and I'm going to let go from down here, and I'm going to freshen things up here. And so all of that health that you're cultivating at the level of your own body, that's foundational for the next level of being, which is your own mind. And a healthier mind, of course, intuits the soul and so forth. So it's what we call, in philosophical terms, upward causation. Meaning that matter and body, as they heal and they're fulfilled and they're in their own wisdom, because you're eating things that are taking care of those two levels of being, it just, boom, it just rises right on up through.
Yes.
So that's why we start to see people saying, gosh, just mentally I feel so much better. Well, your blood sugar is more balanced, your body's less toxic.
Yes.
That's that chain of being kind of getting healthy and rising right up through higher levels. Another thing people say, though, at the level of soul is, I just can't do things that I don't care about anymore. The conversations that I was having before, they were shallow and meaningless, or they were harmful. I just don't like them. They're just not what interests me anymore.
Yes.
Something else, another level of conversation interests me now. I want to be generating a deeper, more fulfilling, longer-lasting meaning with the kinds of conversations that I'm having. And that kind of thing naturally arises, and we wonder, well, why is that happening when you take a bunch of apples and celery and cucumbers and beets and leafy greens and you start drinking it? What is it about those things that's generating that level of awareness? Well, it's because those lower levels of being, quote-unquote lower levels of being, more fundamental levels of being, are being healed. And they're in their own fullness, their own wisdom. They're the way they should be.
Yes. And so juice cleansing, juice feasting is a catalyst to help us really raise our consciousness, to help raise our levels of awareness into our purpose, into understanding what are we really desiring in our lives. What is our magnificent obsession?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You found that, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. For me, one of the highest forms of fulfillment now is service, is serving others through what I've learned and being able to take the knowledge and the resources, organize it in a way, and then share it in a very effective and wonderful way in which inspires and uplifts people to do and have and be the things that I am and have and do.
Yes.
And that's one thing I really admire about you as well, and I respect Juice Feasting and everything that you represent, because we're here having this really wonderful conversation about cleansing and juicing, and it's really about awakening people to their purpose. Which you kind of wonder, how does juicing and awakening people to their purpose, how is that connected? And you described it in a very eloquent way through the rise of biology into psychology into theology and mysticism. That these are levels that are interconnected, and they are supportive of each other.
Yes, and there are I am statements that you could make at each one of those levels. So at the level of matter, you could say, I am what I have. Just the stuff that I have. And a lot of people are existing a lot at that level. And it's fine to say that I am statement. There are some healthier or unhealthier ways of doing it. At the level of body, it's you are how healthy you are. I am what I eat would be a really good statement, a really good truth statement at that level.
Yes.
But you are what you eat doesn't quite make as much sense at the level of your own mind. Not that what you're eating doesn't infect your mind, but at the level of mind, the most true I am statement would be, I am what I think. And we know that's also true. Yeah, really true. And it's most true at that level. At the level of your own soul, the truth statement is, I am who or how I love, or how I offer love and compassion. That's who I am. Yes. At the level of spirit, of course, we get into mysticism again, so it's I am that I am, or something like that. Yeah. But there are things that nourish each one of those levels most appropriately. So we are going to, with Cleanse ATX, with Juice Feasting, we're nourishing our body with the best things possible. We are addressing that you are what you eat level of being, and then that's going to rise up into higher levels of being. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. So share with us some tips, some tricks, some things some shortcuts. People, they're going into a 10-day guided cleanse,
and they're going to be drinking lots of juice, or they're going to be, some people would just be doing all raw meals for 10 days. Other people would be doing all raw liquids,
Yes.
which is a multi-level of juices and smoothies or exclusively juice. And what can you share with it? What's worked for you when you did your 90-day juice feast, when you really got to that wall and you felt tired or sluggish or headaches or irritable? Like what did you do to make it easy?
So before we get into like specifics, I'll give another kind of interior orientation with all this. And that is that it's most important to me when I'm coaching folks who are new on cleansing that the person who's cleansing feels successful and happy in what they're doing. Now, that doesn't mean that you're bouncing off the walls the entire cleanse, but that your overall sense of it is, I feel safe, I feel happy, I feel supported. This is, you see that you are in the act of cultivating a life practice.
Yes.
You understand that what you are doing now is cultivating a practice that you will return to, rely on, use to help you in actualizing your own unique self-purpose for the rest of your life. So juice feasting is definitely like that.
Yeah.
I would prefer that somebody just juice feasted for a day or 3 days or 5 days and felt successful than feeling like it was just excruciating to try to get through 15 or 20 days or 90 days or however long somebody wanted to go. So it's most important with this cleanse, particularly if you're cleansing for the first time, that you feel successful with this, because this is a tried and true thing. I mean, this is a limestone block. You can take this sucker home. Boom. This is going to be important for the rest of your life.
Put it in your foundation.
So from that, what's that?
No, put it in your foundation. It's a limestone block. It's like it's in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's most important. Now, from that place, there's a lot of things that you can apply to doing this cleanse that will help you to feel happy with it. You are giving your body a break. It doesn't have to work so hard to digest juice, and that's beautiful. You will make juice for an hour or two in the morning, or if you're able to go out to a juice factory of some kind or another and buy juice.
We've got 6 of them.
Beautiful, and you can go and do that, or what I like to do is augment my juice. So I make some at home, which is fresh, like right away, and then I'm off to some place to buy more juice.
Yes.
But however you're doing it, you are giving your body permission to let go. And for these 10 days, your body is going to be doing a fair amount of letting go. And so the first place in your body that's going to start clearing out is your intestinal tract and your bowel. Now, if as you're letting go, if your body isn't able to go ahead and release things that it wants to release, then there'll be a kind of a backup going on. So imagine your body as a warehouse, which isn't the most beautiful metaphor, but it'll work for what we're talking about. And if you've decided to clean that warehouse up, and you're going to send everything out for recycling, we're doing right now. We're going to send a whole lot of stuff to the recycling plant, so that the earth can regenerate it. You're processing all that and putting it outside of your warehouse or right in the doorways so that somebody can wheel in and grab that stuff and take it out, and the recycling trucks don't come, it's in some ways going to feel even more chaotic than if you just kind of left everything in its boxes and up in the top of the warehouse and so forth. So your bowel is where your body is going to send a lot of stuff. And so it is very important that you help your bowel to go ahead and release. And I can't stress this strong enough. Juice feasting was my master's degree. It's the program that I put together was my master's degree. And Dr. Cousins, who coordinated my master's degree, he said, if you don't have some kind of colonic hydrotherapy, meaning enemas or a column aboard or doing a colonic with a professional, if you don't have something like that integrated into the program that people are regularly doing, particularly at the beginning of it, I won't sign off on this project. And Dr. Cousins has been doing this for almost 40 years.
Yes.
And he was very impressed with the juice feasting program. And he said, wow, I mean, I haven't coached anybody to date that long. I mean, 90 days was a long time, what I was already doing. And I said, yes, colonic hydrotherapy of some kind, either at home or with a professional, is definitely part of the program.
Yes.
It's highly advised. With my clients that I coach, I pretty much make it required. It's very important because you're giving your body permission to let go from every cell in its body. All your lymph, which there's about 3 times as much lymph in your body as there is blood, all that's releasing and it's going down either into your bladder to be released, or it's going into your colon. That's where most of it's going. Yeah. And some of it's coming through your skin. So please practice some kind of colonic irrigation or colonic hydrotherapy for these 10 days. Water is completely natural in your colon. It's there all the time. Your body puts it in. It'll even take it out if you're getting dehydrated. So this is a very safe practice, and I've had tens of thousands of people who've done juice feasting learn about enemas. Now, if you're talking about life practices, here's one that we're integrating into a larger life practice.
Yeah.
Knowing how to apply an enema and when is a very important life practice. I've seen it change so many people's health just in a few minutes. Feeling a fever, they're not feeling well for whatever reason, right?
Yeah, I mean, regarding enemas, in the Bernard Jensen's book, The Guide to Better Bowel Care, he has testimonial after testimonial of enemas saving people's lives back in the 50s and 60s, when it was more common for doctors to still carry enema bags in their medicine bags.
Yes.
And people literally stopping heart attacks from an enema. And so learning how to do an enema and then having that be a life practice can potentially save people's lives.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing.
After doing this cleanse for 10 days, you will know what an enema is, and you will know when to apply it. Now, usually, I always do an enema within the first 10 to 14 days of a juice feast.
Yes.
If I'm feeling sluggish in my system, that is one of the practices that I will apply. And so I'll find myself once every month or two going into the bathroom and taking the time to do an enema. And it just helps my system go ahead and let go of whatever it needs to let go of. This is a very valuable practice to integrate right now. We have an explanation of how to do an enema on day 3 or 4 of the juice feasting program. I actually give President George Bush an enema. We made a nice cardboard cutout and explain how to do it, which is very comical and also instructional. I always wanted to do that. It was like, if the president can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes.
So this is an important one to integrate. Now I'll say, for those of you who are doing this cleanse ATX because you want to lose weight, which is definitely a nice side effect, if you will, of doing a juice cleanse, I have found over now almost 8 years of coaching and in my own practice, you will lose weight about 3 times as fast by doing an enema each day during this 10-day cleanse as if you do not.
Yes.
Which means that your body is exceedingly good at letting go of things if you go ahead and help it with that last little bit, because you're not taking any fiber in if you're just doing juice. Now, if you are doing some fiber, that's a little bit different. I'd still advise you to go ahead and learn how to integrate enemas as a life practice. But you just do it for this 10 days, and your body will let go 3 times as fast. And what does that mean in terms of weight loss? Health challenges have weight. Toxemia is a cause of disease. It's actually the second stage of disease. The first is stagnation, followed by toxic buildup because things are stagnant. Yes. So with an enema, you are releasing stagnation and you're releasing toxemia. So if disease and things that cause disease have weight, that means you're letting go of disease-causing elements in your body 3 times as fast. That's powerful information.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty amazing, particularly for those focused on reshaping their bodies, losing weight, and developing their fit and trim and beautiful body through juicing.
Yes, yes. What that will do also is enable your next stage of release, your lymphatic system all over your body, to release stuff down into your bowel. Yes. So if things are constantly moving out, those recycling trucks are coming, if you will, and moving things out, then you can get more stuff out of the warehouse, put it at the door, and allow it to leave. It also creates space for new stuff to come in, which 12 to 15 pounds of produce is what you're drinking if you're doing 4 quarts of juice a day. That is an incredible amount of nutrition.
Yes.
You're able to take in. Yeah.
It is incredible. That's probably the most important tip or principle of support, is to keep the bowels moving and keep that primary pathway of elimination open, which then supports the lymphatic, the skin, the lung, and the liver, and all the 5 systems of detoxification. When the bowel is moving, everything else can move down and out.
Yeah. So I'm all about making this really accessible, and so are you. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Cleanse ATX, is that you've made doing this as a community extraordinarily accessible.
Yes.
Everybody. And so the other life practices that are really easy to integrate along these lines of helping your body go ahead and just let go of what it naturally just is being given permission to let go of. The enema kit costs about $12 at the at a Walgreens or a CVS or someplace similar like that.
Yeah.
While you're in the shower or in the bathroom, you can dry skin brush.
Yes.
So if you haven't done this before, it's just a natural bristle brush. Those are also about $10 or $12. You can find them at natural food stores all over town. And by skin brushing all over the outside of your body, that helps your lymphatic system to release, and it opens up the pores in your skin. Yes. Your skin releases about 2 to 3 pounds of stuff a day. Most of it's water. Water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. But there's other stuff coming with that. So that's an important one that you can do while you're in the bathroom doing your morning practices.
And
when you're in the shower...
Dry brushing feels amazing. It's very invigorating too. It's tingly and just prickly, and it's a fun experience if you've never done it before. And while you're juicing and cleansing, it can really help invigorate you and help you feel good.
It absolutely does. And practices that we've integrated into the juice feasting program are not only designed to help minimize or eliminate cleansing reactions, things like headaches, feeling sluggish, feeling tired, but it's also to help you wake up in the morning. By the time you've done a few of these practices, which each of them just take minutes, your whole perspective on the day is starting to change. So skin brushing really helps. You can do what we call a contrast shower or a hot and cool shower. Once you've warmed up nicely in the shower, you're nice and comfortable. Switch the water over to cold for about 30 seconds to a minute. You don't have to freeze yourself to death.
Yes.
Just change the temperature. Get it back toward cool and whatever you're comfortable with. As you do this a few times, over a few days, you'll get more used to it and you'll like the really cold water. But what that does is it sends blood and lymphatic fluid to the surface of your skin and then back toward the center of your body, and the surface of your skin and back toward the center of your body. And that starts to break up the stagnation in your system and help it to release. And you get to do that just while you're in the shower. It's very inexpensive.
I've done that as well. I did hot cold water therapy or hydrotherapy for about a month while I was at the Tree of Life, working 70 hours a week, and I noticed more energy because of the lymphatic system strengthening. Like my ability to transform food into energy and actually have energy was increased through that form of hydrotherapy. It was way cool.
I'll throw one other thing in there. Men, for those of you who are feeling like, wow, I could use a little bit more testosterone, a little bit more power in that way in my life, cold water or doing a contrast shower like that will actually help to build testosterone in your system.
Wow, that's so simple.
Yeah, it's really simple.
Yeah, I love it.
Then you step out of the shower and you're going to brush your teeth probably. While you're brushing your teeth, get a tongue scraper. These are only a few bucks at health food store or drugstore also. And so you scrape that stuff off the back of your tongue. What you're seeing coming up through your tongue in these 10 days, this is the release of mucus and other things from your lymphatic system. There's a whole lot of lymph nodes in your neck. There's a big channel that runs down right underneath your sternum as well. But there's a lot of lymph nodes in here. If you've ever felt like a cold or a flu, you just feel thick right here. It's right? Feel it right there? As your lymphatic system starts to release, it won't just send stuff down to your bowel. It'll send it out any way it can. And so your tongue is very permeable. It'll send stuff right up through the surface of the back of your tongue. So you can just scrape that off. I had clients at the Tree of Life Rejuvenation Center where I worked with Dr. Cousins who were fasting. And they would scrape their tongues like 8 or 10 times a day sometimes. And it wasn't because they were neurotic. It was actually because their body was releasing that much stuff through their tongue, and so they just scrape it out. Your loved ones will, and your colleagues at work will thank you for that as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That thick white coating that's constantly coming off the tongue, that's your body letting go with ease and just releasing the mucus and releasing the excess out of the mouth.
Yes.
And tongue scrapers are great. I actually enjoy the way it feels when I do it every day. It's kind of like a massage to my tongue, which is massaging our whole body because our tongue is reflexes to every organ in the body.
Yes. Yeah. It's very important, and your tongue will feel amazing, and you'll be like, wow, where's all this stuff coming from? Which is also part of the fascinating aspect of this. It's kind of nice to see everything coming. It's like, wow, my body's really letting go. That creates a lot of faith in your body and also in the life practice that you're cultivating. So it's very, very good in that way. The other one is, which I kind of jumped ahead with talking about colonic hydrotherapy, but it's because it's so important I wanted to mention it first.
Yes.
The first thing you do when you get up in the morning, I suggest, and I've been having my clients do this for many, many years, is doing what I call morning water. You get up first thing, and whatever water it is that you've got, I mean, hopefully it's some kind of an upgrade on tap water.
Yes.
Tap water's got a lot of stuff in it that you don't really want to be putting on down through you at all, particularly on a cleanse. But without getting into the beautiful and nuanced discussion about water, having morning water, a quart of morning water, 32 ounces, squeeze a fresh lemon in there, and a little detail, if you want to throw this in, is MSM, which is a sulfur compound.
Yes.
And I've had my clients put that in there because sulfur is a very prevalent mineral in the body. And MSM in particular reduces inflammation and breaks down scar tissue, helps things to get more permeable and open up in your system, which means things can be released more easily. And you can also take on new nutrients better by doing MSM. So a teaspoon to a tablespoon of MSM in your morning water with the lemon juice, which is high in vitamin C. All of those things synergize together nicely. When you wake up in the morning, you are slightly dehydrated. You lose a quart to 2 quarts of water at night. So putting that back in first thing in the morning will hydrate your bowel. It will hydrate your bloodstream. It will go to your brain and help you to wake up. People generally like coffee in the morning, not so much for the caffeine, although that will light you up a little bit. And I don't suggest doing it on a cleanse at all. But because of the water, we like hydrating in the morning, and hydrating actually lights you up in the morning. And I've had many clients who haven't had water until lunchtime sometimes as part of their life practices that they want to let go of. And they start drinking that water, like, wow, I mean, it's a whole change in my way of being now. I'm actually like lighting up in the morning, and I'm creating in a way that I wasn't able to create before. I feel better. That is a nutritional life practice that you can do the rest of your life. Morning water, 1 quart.
Yes. I'm really glad you mentioned MSM. It's in our Platinum Level Cleanse Kit from Omega Organics. They have a plant-based organic sulfur, and I would add it directly to my juice. When I make a gallon of juice, I would add a tablespoon of MSM crystals to the juice and drink it with my juice, and felt amazing benefits of adding the MSM to the juice. And it's also a really powerful water catalyst too. It does work really well in water. And MSM is one of those supplements that can really help people let go and cleanse their body.
It's really powerful. There's a whole book written called The Miracle of MSM by Dr. Stanley Jacob. And it's one of my most highlighted and referenced books that I've used in all of my years of studying nutrition.
And of all the things that I've taken over the past 10 years, when I started upping my dosage of MSM, I could feel it. Like, I could actually feel changes in my body, in my skin, and in my bowels, and just really things started to open up. And so it really is very helpful. And I really like the combination of the cultivating the life practice of having water with MSM in the morning while juicing, and then also just bringing that pure, fresh water in your body every morning, first thing.
And lemon, which is probably one of the most valuable foods that we could access out there as well. Lemon is a hydrogen concentrator, and hydrogen helps to hydrate you. So that's why in the summertime, where you go to a hot, dry environment, it's like all of a sudden lemon just sounds incredible. Citrus sounds great because citrus is a hydrogen concentrator. So that's one of the things that we're looking at accomplishing during a juice feast or cleanse, is to rehydrate, to increase our level of hydration. So it's not just cleansing, but it's also rehydrating.
When we're talking about increasing the level of hydration, increasing the level of hydrogen in the body, which is abundant in juices and citrus and all the super nutrients we're putting into our bodies. And like hydration equals hydrogen entering the cells. And when I learned that, I was like, oh wow, this is a whole new level of understanding of what feeds me. Hydrogen. Citrus.
And water is made up of H2O. And so water is not only a good source of hydrogen, other foods are not just a good source of hydrogen, but also oxygen. And it was just an obvious thing that Dr. Cousins brought to everyone's attention in his book Spiritual Nutrition several years ago, is that being adequately hydrated actually helps you to become better oxygenated in your system. And an oxygen-rich system tends to not allow things like yeast, candida, other opportunists to be prevalent. It builds your immune system. It helps your brain to function better. You run on oxygen. You can't go without it for more than just a couple of minutes.
Speaking of oxygen, I just uploaded a video on the 9-breath healing circle we're going to be doing to launch the cleanse. And it's a way of super saturating the body with oxygen. And I have a live blood cell analysis of before and after a 45-second 9-breath in someone's blood. And you can see the benefits of what 9 powerful breaths will do to someone's blood cells. just after doing one 9 breath. And then
Yes.
all throughout the 10-day event, I brought together some of our best Qigong instructors, yoga instructors, to teach people and awaken their own breath, their
Yes.
own breathing practice. Because there's no right or wrong way to breathe. And when we do a 9 breath, when we do a transformational breathing experience, it's helping people saturate their bodies with oxygen in their own way, through their
Yes.
own personal, like breathing, cultivating a life practice of breath awareness. And
Yes.
breathing is very powerful.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited you brought that up too, and just the power of breath, and being aware of our breath in every moment when we're doing this 10-day
Yes.
cleanse, or even going deeper into a 30 or 60-day juice feast.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned a lot of really good things, and it's been about an hour in our conversation, so I think it's a good time to wrap it up and express my gratitude for joining with me today. You are a bright, shining being, and tell us what's next. What are you doing next? What's going on right now in your life, and how are you serving others?
Great. I am living in Ecuador with Katrina and our daughter Sophia, and we are going to give birth later on this year to a second child, so which is very exciting.
Congratulations.
So we're down in Ecuador, and what I'm liking about the opportunity down there is I have a number of colleagues there who are also interested in awakening people to a magnificent obsession. And I'm creating webinars around various topics. So those will be coming out this year. I'm also excited about the writing that I'm doing this year. I am looking forward to wrapping up a book on juice feasting called Juice Feasting, an Integral Hero's Guide, using both the work of Ken Wilber and the work of mythologist Joseph Campbell to shine light on juice feasting as a life practice. So that's an exciting project. And also a project called The Spectrum of Diet, which if you Google The Spectrum of Diet, you'll find some writing on that as well. So those are the main things that I'm doing this year. I'm upgrading Juice Feasting to a new platform, which will come out before too long. But please go to juicefeastingatx.com. There's a full free introduction to how to juice feast, which is almost like a book in and of itself. You just register on the site, and then the menu will drop down under Juice Feasting Intro, and you'll be able to see everything there, including some of the life practices that we've talked about today. You can see those in more detail. And I'm just really, really pleased with this project. It's what I visioned for a long time. I mean, the fact that you've integrated local juice bars and also local food producers, local farmers into it.
Yes.
Oh man, I mean, it's just, the whole thing is just integrating so beautifully. So congratulations. I mean, this is a major accomplishment.
Thank you.
In terms of just what you're doing, and it's going to be significant for developing a more rich culture in Austin around health and food, which we need to build a deep culture around food at this point. I think the processed food experiment is coming to a close.
Yes.
It's been great. It's been hilarious, but now we realize that if we want a culture that is long-lasting and can continue, we've got to go ahead and move beyond that experiment now. So thank you so much for helping us to do that. It's just incredible.
You're welcome, David. I thank you for your knowledge and your wisdom today, and my hope and prayers is that everything we've said today just goes right into people's hearts, and they can take what we've shared and apply it in their life, develop and cultivate their own life practice around juicing and around healing their body at all levels. And this is a powerful process for us all, and I really appreciate your role and the light that you carry for juicefeasting.com. And so thank you very much, and I look forward to our next conversation about the spectrum of diet, because that's going to be
that'd be
really
great.
rich. Yeah, so we can do a whole nother one on that, and because you and I have been through the spectrum, and we've found something that as we've integrated more and more of our life practices, we've moved even beyond veganism and found a new way of being for ourselves. And the spectrum of diet is a great way of just encapsulating these truths that we've learned.
Yes, and we've moved from truth to truth, nutritionally speaking. So you can, in short, you can look back on your whole nutritional journey and smile on it because it's all had purpose.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Everybody enjoy using this understanding of life practices and learning about juice feasting as a life practice. It's going to serve you for the rest of your life. And I'm so overjoyed to be able to offer that to everybody today. And thanks for the great conversation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm deeply fed. Give my love to Katrina and Sophia.
Okay.
And I bless you back to Ecuador, and I know we'll be hearing more from you.
All right.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.